Call in. These are the options. Act like a boss when I can be. These are the options. Used to be employee, now these are the options. I gotta make it to make it. I gotta make it to make it.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your co-host Digital Jeff, and I'm excited to bring on our next guest. Our next guest is actually a serial entrepreneur that has built one of the biggest brands in modern day. His brand started actually with a problem that he had. He was trying to lose weight and detox at the same time, and he couldn't find one single product that offered that. So he created his own brand called Fit-T, was able to partner up with elite influencers such as the Kardashians to create viral type content and bring sales to his new product. As of today, he's generated over 100 million in sales for his company. And like I say, business is booming. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Michael Gonzalez, the CEO and founder of Fit-T, to the show. Michael, what is your question?
Hey, Colin. My question is, how do you handle large email lists in Klaviyo?
It's great to see you on the show. I know seeing you a few months ago at my mastermind, hanging out, connecting again, always great. So I guess the question is, what do you do for large email lists, whether they're, let me ask you this. First question is the nurtured audience lists that you have, how often or what's your frequency of sending them something? What does that look like currently?
Probably twice a week. I'm probably sending something. I probably at the least once, but that's about as far. And most of the times it's just a direct offer, like whether that's a discount or maybe that's discount on a specific product. But that's about as often as I do email.
So I guess I would say my advice for large lists would be definitely to segment based on the consumer's behavior of opening and clicking and engaging, as well as ensuring that you're excluding those that have bounced, those that have marked email as spam. So what I like to do is create 3 separate tier email engagers. And so your lowest tier, to be in my email flow at least, would be those that have, and it's irregardless if they've placed an order. This is more to make sure that my deliverability and inboxing is at the best performance ability. So my lowest one is open an email at least 3 or more times within the last 30 days. Now I send more emails than you. So if you're only sending twice a week, I would probably increase that date range. So if you're only doing 2 emails a week, my suggestion would be to probably go to about a 60-day threshold, and that would be your lowest tier threshold. So those that have opened 3 or more times within the last 60 days and has bounced less than 4, which is 3, within the last 90 days, and has marked email as spam 0 times within the last 90 days. And so these are all conditional statements and is not suppressed. Okay, so that would be my first one. My second, which is your mid-tier engagers, are those that have opened 5 or more times within the last minus 30 days. My suggestion to you is 60 days. And then basically the same criteria bullet points for exclusions. And then my last one, which is my top engagers, would be those that have opened 7 or more times and have clicked greater than 1, which is 2, within the last 30 days. And it goes through those exclusion list of bounced less than 4 times, which is 3 within the last 90 days, not suppressed, and marked as spam 0 times within the last 90 days. So those are my 3-tier buckets that I would suggest for best practices on deliverability so that you can make sure you're inboxing correctly. So I guess as a recap, my biggest suggestion, especially if you have a cold list, is to warm up. You could create a segmented flow based on your email list and then slowly test a small audience pool. So if you have 1 million emails, I would take a small test pool of, let's just say, 5%, right? And so 5% are going to receive this email, and take a look to make sure that they're not going to spam. One simple thing that you could also do is look at, instead of sending a graphic, send it as a text only email, and traditionally it's going to be delivered a lot better.
You know, I'm always a big advocate about spreading awareness of anxiety and fear within entrepreneurship. I'm always really obsessed to, talk to high level achievers. And so my question for you is, how do you handle your day-to-day stress, your day-to-day anxiety, and how do you experience your anxieties towards, whatever it is within your business?
Yeah, great question, man. And I think there's so many people that deal with that, whether that's, my time in the military, getting blown up in Afghanistan, transitioning out. I know the simplest way to put it is the gym for me was a massive anxiety release and stress release. And I tend to cope a lot better with things when I'm super busy. I think that when I'm focused and really, really driven on achieving whatever that is and accomplishing, my mindset is win the day. So it helps me not look at anything else that's going to be outside noise because I'm not distracted by it. Usually the days that I'm off work, which that's not often, are the days that I'm kind of reflecting on stuff that is stressors. Another thing that I do, and I'm fortunate, the things that I don't want to do, I look at time, effort, energy, reward. I hire somebody else to do the things that are just not needed or necessary. From the person coming every single week to cut my hair, to a chef that makes our meals, to a maid that's making sure our house, all of these little things that'll kind of incrementally make it less stressful for me. But I would say for me, what's helped is just staying busy, being driven, hungry by nature. But just like everyone else, man, I get super stressed. It's just, I can deal with a lot of things, and I'm really good at compartmentalizing. So I don't think about, almost getting killed in Afghanistan, or, did 100 plus combat missions in Iraq. I don't really think about it. I can openly talk about it, and it's just there, and, but everybody's going to be a little bit different. What about you, man? I know, would love to hear your thoughts on how you cope with anxiety and stress.
I actually, when I really blew up the business, when I got really fortunate in 2016, the business really started gaining. FitTea was a worldwide brand. We were getting into every retail store you can imagine: Walmart, Target, CVS, Walgreens, and all at once I was having this really high level of success, which most entrepreneurs, that's what you're really striving to get. But you're not realizing the level of pressure that comes with that type of growth. And at the time, I didn't realize what anxiety was. I had no idea what a disorder or anxiety really was to people. And I actually fell into a disorder. I ended up having GAD, general anxiety disorder, which I don't believe in titles, but that's what happened to me figuratively. I went 2 years where I didn't know what to do. I went to doctor after doctor, and nobody really could give me an answer. Like, here's a prescription to whatever drug it was and send me on my way. So for 2 years, I was really confused and lost. As an entrepreneur, I was still working on my business, but I was going through this really hardship of dealing with stress and anxiety. What really turned the corner for me was the work of a lady called Dr. Clara Weeks. She wrote a book called Help for Your Nerves. And in that book, she talks about accepting and utilizing acceptance as a form of therapy, which is a lot of times the opposite. When someone's going through stress or through anxiety, you want to get rid of it somehow. You're doing all these things to make it go away, and you're totally not accepting what's happening in your mind, in your body, and your feelings. And I really decided to make that my one of my fortes of how I handle stress or anxiety is utilizing acceptance. And I'm also just like you. I really believe in work and therapy, like actually doing things to go about your day. I also believe in win the day. I don't say the win the day, but I might have to start stealing your phrase. And I also believe in working out. That's all great things. But I definitely, I really recommend when someone's going through anxiety is to look up the accepted method. It'll work wonders. It will become your shield. And this applies to all entrepreneurs. I believe that this happens every single day, and people don't even realize that they're actually starting the beginning phases of what a disorder is. And you can catch it and make that a practice and put acceptance as if it's written on your heart, and all of a sudden it won't matter, and you'll actually have a badge to handle it.
So I think that fear and anxiety could also be a precursor for mental shifts and breakthroughs. And what I mean by that is look at what happened in March of 2020 with COVID, and there was a lot of unknowns, and a lot of businesses either got shut down, filed bankruptcy, and some businesses thrived, but they had to pivot. And it caused, even for myself, a lot of uncertainty. And still to today with inflation and everything else, what I think in my mind is those type of stressors have allowed me, because I've overcame them. Now I look at it as, you know what, I've gotten through this, I can get through anything. In my mind, it's this speed bump is nothing. God didn't bring me this far to close the doors. I've overcame X. This is just another hurdle. And so for me, my mindset is, hey, I've been through worse situations. This sucks, yeah. But I'm gonna, like we said in the Army, I'm gonna Charlie Mike. I'm gonna continue mission. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep moving forward. And I'm curious, does that same type of trigger for you? Do you reflect back on those stressors or precursors that triggered anxiety? Does that kind of help you now if it was business related, and you're going through those peaks, valleys?
Yeah, I always have this phrase: strength doesn't beget strength. You don't get strong by being strong, right? You have to earn that level of strength, earn that level of immunity, and typically you have to go through something. Even Dr. Clara Weeks talks about it. Peace doesn't happen by fearing, anxiety or stresses or fears. Strength comes by going through it, by actually experiencing it, totally accepting what it is, and seeing for its bluff, and I think that happens to all entrepreneurs too, and whether that's just experiences of your business, experiences with risk. A lot of times, I look back of the 7 years, the things that I learned, a lot of the things are, small in nature. It's not the big stuff that really, you reflect upon and go, okay, this, I can use this for the rest of my career, whatever I'm doing. A lot of times it's really the small stuff that you take along the journey. So I definitely think it's earned. Your strength is earned.
Amen, brother. Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. And it's compounding. It compounds if you don't find some type of, if that is a stressor that builds, and those little bitty things turns into a breaking point over time. If you can't figure out a way to mentally, what is that? And I think for me, so I went through something similar when I was in fitness modeling, and I haven't really shared this story publicly. I was at the pinnacle of success, and we knew each other from back in the day when I was working with Shreds, and I didn't have inner peace, and it's a hard thing to almost explain to people when you're at this pinnacle of being one of the top fitness models in the world, traveling the world, making a lot of money, $30,000, $40,000 a month, being an influencer, taking a selfie. That's cool. But at the end of the day, when you soul search internally and say, what are you doing? Where are you going to be 5 years from now? Does this really wake you up in the morning and you feel good about doing what it is that you're doing. And for me, it took a lot of soul searching because I didn't know that that was like my inner peace was like not continuing that. I'm the type of guy, I'm looking, you know, hey, 5 years, 10 years from now, what's going to happen? I can't be a fitness model forever. So but at this time, I'm only 25 years old. And I'm looking at it from like, all right, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years from now, what does that look like? I'm a high school dropout. And I'm living a lifestyle that's beyond a high school dropout's education, typical job. And so that was extremely discomforting, even though I wasn't in that situation where I needed liquidity or anything else. But I needed a peace of mind to know that these contracts could come and go. What's going to happen long term? So my inner peace for me was pivoting to entrepreneurship. That's where I found, like, I can wake up in the morning and I'm hungry. I can wake up, beat my alarm clock 99% of the time, and I'm excited to go and you know, carry on the day. And that's, I think you have to find that. And it doesn't have to be monetary perspective. Like I've mentioned a graph, time, effort, energy, reward. Like the reward could also be what wakes you up? What are you excited to go and do whatever it is you do on a daily basis? That's inner peace. That's like a massive reward because life is so short. So I think for me, finding that inner peace, that calling, that's just truly what is it that you love? Go fucking do it. Like do exactly what wakes you up in the morning or what you would envision. And now reverse engineer, how do I do that every single day? So I think that for me has been a massive help from a stress perspective because I don't have that inner peace, I didn't have it as a fitness model. And I couldn't tell you, man, like I had a chip on my shoulder to a degree. I wasn't necessarily like unhappy, but I wasn't happy, if that makes sense. I had a beautiful wife, Bree, obviously we're still married. And I didn't treat her the way that I should for no reason. I wasn't bad to her, but at the same time, like it's totally different than what it is today. Our relationship's stronger than ever.
You're not uncommon. That's very like it's crazy how close that conversation. Obviously, we're in a society where men have to be these strong, ego-driven, success-driven men. We can't make a mistake. I actually made a post recently about it ain't fucking perfect all the time, you know, like, and a lot of times you get this narrative from social media where everyone's perfect. Like the social media businessman is this ridiculous stigma of perfection, and it drives me crazy. I absolutely love what I do. I love business. I love marketing. I love entrepreneurship, but it's not all roses and daisies every single day. And that narrative, this discussion is really, really special because a lot of times no one shows the kinks in their armor, and that's okay. That's actually a strength in this world. You know, unfortunately, some people don't find the solution and they end up taking their life, and spreading this awareness of that people struggle with different things, even at the high level of success, because a lot of times I have people that come to me and they're searching for what their level of success is going to be, what that means to them. And I tell them that you might get to that thing that you had prayed for, that you had dreamed for, and be empty, you know? And finding those universal truths is really important. So I'm really glad that you shared this with me, and I appreciate, you know, showing the transparency to your audience.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being on the show, and can't wait for us to hang out again in person. So last question for you. If you could sum up within, I don't know, what you want to be remembered for within less than 5 words, what would that be? If you're gone tomorrow, what does that look like?
I definitely would want to be remembered for the guy that kind of started, you know, social media influencer marketing, as strange as that sounds, because I definitely was very, very early on for that. Obviously, Fit Tea is the catalyst to that story. I wouldn't have been able to do that strategy without having that brand. But, just the guy that kind of sparked, really what social media is today, for better or worse. But I definitely like that to be a part of my legacy, as far as one of my, really short 5 words of what I am. And if I had to, on the side note, really spreading awareness to health and wellness towards entrepreneurs, because I think as of late, that's been something that I've been spreading a lot, and it's kind of been a part of my messaging, just because I know it's so important.
That's true, brother. Well, pioneering the future of social media back in the day certainly isn't where it is today, but I know the best time to do anything is right now. And my saying is jump in with both feet and hope to God you swim.
Yeah, definitely go for it. When I first started the company, people thought I was crazy. I barely had any money to start the business, and I look back now, I'm so glad I didn't listen to any naysayers. So if anyone's watching this, if you have any doubts of your future, in the end of the day, if you fail, you can try again.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your friends. And every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a new episode drops. Also, you can be on the show. If you go to invite.millionairecreator.com, you can apply. It's free, and you may have a chance to be on the show with me, Colin with Colin. Be sure to share this video, and if you do, we may reshare your post. Also, if you enjoy entrepreneurship just like I do, I would encourage you to go to our new website, millionairecreator.com. We have some incredible products, from steel merchandise, canvas, apparel, and education courses, ebooks, and physical books. So guys, millionairecreator.com, check it out for yourself. I know you'll love it, especially for all of those entrepreneurs out there.
I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted,